Well, hello everyone. You joined me aboard my new Husqvarna 701 Supermoto, and I'm in that stage of new bike ownership where you find literally any excuse to go out the house on the bike. So today's excuse is, oh, shall I just nip over to Stratford and get us some bubble tea? Yeah, go on, that'll be nice, yeah. And off I go. Any excuse. I'm particularly looking for an excuse to get out today because I have fitted something on my handlebars. Can you tell what it is? It's not the mirrors. They are bloody good though. Stealth mirrors. Find them on Instagram. They are rather good. They're a touch on the small side, but you don't have to worry about elbows getting in the way of your view. So yeah, rate them a lot. No, it's these foamy grip cover things called grip puppies. I heard about them, or I learnt of them, watching Rocket Man. Lives in the Algarve, and yeah, this was on one of his. He did like a top 10 cheap mods for bikes, and these were on there. And I thought, well, I've got a vibey single. What a better bike to try them out on? And yeah, so far, feeling comfy. I can't say I've noticed too much in the way of vibe reduction, but then again, I haven't really got out onto the open road yet, so yeah, I'll be let you know how I feel about those after today, I suppose, after today's journey. So yeah, I've done the stealth mirrors. It gives you, when there's nothing in front of you, it gives you that flying sensation, doesn't it? It makes you feel like you're on something a bit naughtier, you know, when you haven't got the big Mickey Mouse ears in front of you. No nod, wow. Must be an angry commuter. Oh my god. What are you doing? You're not a motorbike, are you? What is wrong? What's wrong with you? I hate it when cars think they can filter. How much time did he save? If you're not coming back in now. Aye. The only other thing I've put on is a Roadlok, the integrated disc lock. I did a video on it on my my Ducati Supersport, which is now gone, I'm afraid. Yeah, it was a short-lived romance on that bike, and I've always wanted one of these, and yeah, it just kind of it was brewing inside me, and then it sort of happened. We're on the Supermoto life now, and we're in the break-in. We're having to do the dreaded break-in, so I can't really give it the beanage. I've been basically riding it normally, except not taking it up really high in the rev range. I've been razzing it a little bit. You can't help but razz it a bit. I mean, it's just the kind of bike it is. But you know, it's equally happy sitting purring along in traffic. You've got, oh, it's such a good view ahead when you're on Supermoto because you're so high up, and you've got the wide bars, so you know, dodging a pothole is just nothing. Piece of cake. Being a 701, it's just got gobs of power when you do need it. The only issue I've got is if you're like trying to go around like a smaller roundabout and you've got it in second and the revs are too low, it'll just be like It's not that the RPMs are too low, it's that the fueling at those low RPMs is not right. So it's got a I might try one of the fuel dongle things, or I will just skip straight to a dyno tune and get it done properly. I've always wanted to get a bike dyno tuned, but my old bikes have all been carbed, so you're into jetting, and there's not many places that will help you out with that these days. And it's yeah, it's a bit more of a dark art compared to dynoing. But now I've got a new bike, which, yeah, perfect candidate. It's got all the emissions crap on it, so it is crying out for it. It's not really about getting more power for me, it's about rideability and manners. That's what the bike needs. It's got plenty of performance for me just now. I'm desperate to get this break-in done and then put an exhaust on it. I don't know why I've got it in my head that I have to complete the break-in before I can put an exhaust on, but it just kind of seems to make sense. Like, just run it in as it comes out of the factory, and then once it's established and everything's settled, then you can start throwing performance mods at it. That's the plan. Oh, I also tuned the suspension. The owner's manual actually had some really helpful directions on tuning the suspension, so I've put it in their recommended comfort settings. It's just a bit more forgiving for UK roads. Yeah, definitely what it needed. Oh, managed to nip out there quite well, didn't I? Good job the thing didn't stall, or I would have been cream crackered. So these bikes out of the factory, they come with no preload adjustment on the front or the rear. There is technically preload adjustment on the rear, but you have to take the whole shock out of the bike to be able to wind the collar. So they do, there's a part in the catalogue, it's basically a way to adjust the rear preload without having to take the bike apart. So I managed to get the dealer to fit one of them as part of the deal. So yeah, I was quite chuffed with that. I spent a lot of time playing with the suspension on my Supersport, and this actual road was my test track. And yeah, I didn't really get very far. And in the end, I just put it all back to standard and just called it a day. Because all the changes I made, I could tell what the changes were, but it didn't really solve the problems that I had with it. I tried a lot of different messing around on that, and just never got it to a place where I was totally happy with it. Whereas this, whilst I'm about 90% happy with this. Now it's in the comfort settings, it's manageable, like it's doable. As long as you put in a bit of pressure through the pegs, taking a bit of pressure off the bike and letting it work, it's quite good. And obviously it's got a lot more travel being a Supermoto. It's got the long forks. But yeah, man, it's so hot today. It looks like a nice cool evening, but it's just muggy. Today in particular is just muggy. Yesterday was better, but today. That's why I'm off to get bubble tea, just something to cool the brow. So yeah, there she is, and that's the plan. I am enjoying the grips so far. I wouldn't say they're not like a game changer or anything, but yeah, it probably is a bit less vibey. You'd probably feel the benefit more on a long journey. Yeah, it's nice. To be honest, I'm appreciating more than the vibration dampening qualities or any of that stuff. I just appreciate having a slightly thicker bar. I don't like the full fat bars. That's a bit too much, but these just slip onto your normal 7/8 bars or whatever they are and just give them a tiny bit more chunk. Makes it feel a bit less BMX-y. I did have a couple of false neutrals out of this on the ride home. It was quite an eventful journey in some ways. I actually got my shoelace caught in the fucking front sprocket, and luckily it just ate the shoelace, like it just snapped it. Oh, can you imagine if it got caught and I just ended up going round and round? My mate Spectre, I was chatting with him about it. It's quite bad really. Like when I told him, oh, I almost died on picking it up, by the way, he was like, yeah. It's like he wasn't even surprised. It's like, have I got this much of a reputation for just being accident prone? Literally bad luck Brian over here. So good on these kinds of roads. You've just got so much control of those bars, and the bike is so light yet powerful. Oh, it's just, there's a bit of blipping on that gravel. The way it pulls out of bends, and the way it feels when you lean it over, it's like riding some kind of battleship, some kind of pirate ship on steroids. Turning the wheel aft! Turning aft! Oh, I could pop a little wheelie, but I'm scared. Oh god. Not yet, not yet, I'm not ready. The bike ain't ready either, to be fair. Shouldn't be snapping on the throttle like that. Oh. If a bike can scare you, it's almost like it's, you know, there's still more to learn with it, you know. I almost felt too at home on that Ducati too quickly, whereas this definitely has the ability to scare me with its wheeling antics. Oh, get the weight over the front end, get your leg out. Just so good. And it makes a decent noise as well, considering how choked up these bikes are. Those massive exhaust cans and complicated airboxes. It's still satisfying to do pulls on it, you know. You can restrict it all you like, but you're never going to get away from the fact that you've got a gigantic single-cylinder engine underneath here. Oh yeah, that might actually be the first time I've tried the quick shifter on this. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Beautiful. I have actually been getting used to the seat. When I first got on it, I was like, this is a bit of a plank. I'm going to have to go and get some stupid gel seat made to order and all the rest of it. Like, but no, it's almost as if I'm either getting used to it or it's bedding in a bit, like the foam. It's probably a bit of both. I have had comments from people saying, you know, they haven't had an issue with the stock seat. So yeah, it might just be a case of getting used to it and bedding it in. And you know, if it does get too bad, you can just stand up. That's the beauty of it. Yeah, really enjoying this one. I did really appreciate the Ducati for what it was, but I think it was just not right for me, more than the bike being a problem. So I was a little sad to see it go. It's a pretty beautiful look. It's definitely a better looking bike than this. More elegant than Yobby or Chavy like this is. I don't think this is a particularly bad looking bike. It's a bit bulbousy on the back end perhaps. A bit too much plastic at the back end there, but I'd still rather have this over the 690. I just don't really get on with the KTM vibe. All that orange and attack, you know, ready to race. Nah, Husqvarna's a bit more Chad, a bit more pipe and slippers, you know, the gentleman's Supermoto. You can't really call any Supermoto a gentlemanly bike, can you? They're for yobbos and knobheads. I think I'd fill into those two slots perfectly. Aren't bikes the best? Nice little MX-5. We don't want to get too carried away here. People are rather unpredictable at this time of day. Aye, aye, aye. Oh, it feels so good once you get moving again. Holy shit. It's all the sweat dripping off my hide. Who's going to pull in front of me now, eh? Let's see. Nobody. Oh, that's refreshing. Oh golly, that looks like diesel. For sake. Oh god, why have I come here on purpose? Why did you come into Stratford during rush hour? I only got myself to blame for this. Oh dear. That seems suitably dodgy. In Stratford though, oh look, there's Saharan dirt on people's cars. We had that Saharan rain, didn't we? Didn't hit my car. Jammy git. I bet that's nice. Proper Greek restaurant. Let's get this boy locked up. Shouldn't have locked the steering yet, should I? But there we go. We're there now. Oh god. Jesus. Probably put a massive scratch on my visor too. There we go. Cool. Perfect. Right, let's get this tea.